What's wrong with women with kids?
What's wrong with little Jimmy with freckles and the glasses?
He's not my type.
Not my type.
So you want a woman that has no kids?
Yeah.
Correct? Why?
Why not?
Got him.
A lot of people got something to say about the fact that I got 6 kids with 6 different men. So I'm just gonna tell y'all why it is better to do it this way. If I had 6 kids with all the same dude, I get 34% of his income, which is only $680 a month. If I got 6 kids with 6 different dudes, I get 17% from each one of them, which is $340 a month from each one. $340 a month times 6 baby daddies is $2,040. So why don't you have 6 baby daddies?
The math isn't mathing, and it never really does. Guys, welcome back to the Single Mom Saga. It's not like the OG Star Wars, but the entertainment gets me out of the bed in the morning. Whether it's finding a way to leverage the little tots for a spa day or working a charitable government system at everyone else's expense, single moms have been hustling in the most reprehensible ways for over a century at this point. After divorce, out of wedlock, or whatever else, women in this category have done everything they can to steal from hardworking guys while spinning it into a statistical success story. The news is inundated with crappy half stories showing chicks participating in some kind of magical feminist miracle. Look, women own more homes than men, and all they had to do was take it in the settlement. Over here, women are getting paid more in corporate environments. Don't pay any attention to the legislation making it mandatory. It's just good old-fashioned hard work. This can all be a bit depressing if one looks at it at face value. But guys, we can't forget that the hustle is just that, a hustle. It can be drop shipping for a clunky product or selling a course that serves no purpose, but at the end of the day, all of this has a shelf life. People get wise, and eventually, nobody buys into the message. Just take a look at this earlier find that foreshadowed what single moms now struggle with en masse called Dream of Buying a Home Gets Harder for Single Mothers by disgruntled feminist Tara Siegel Bernard. I think you'll be pleased.
Come on, let's read it. We're not minors.
Carlette Hewitt decided to make major lifestyle changes after experiencing the shocks of the pandemic. The income hit, the confinement, the view of the padlocked park through her third-floor apartment window. In February, Miss Hewitt, a single mother to a 9-year-old boy, left Mount Vernon, New York, and headed south.
But she's making major financial decisions.
The goal for me was to buy a home in North Carolina because it was a better market, she said. But Miss Hewitt burned through a lot of her savings as she refocused her event planning business on virtual gatherings, all while home prices shot up. Now, she said, how does one even entertain this?
I don't know. You tell me.
Even without the benefit of a second earner, single mothers, those who have never married, have made up a growing share of home buyers over the past 3 decades. Although they still lag single fathers and married couples, a quarter of single mothers were homeowners in 2019, roughly double the rate in 1990, according to a recent report from the Urban Institute.
Go on.
But the pandemic threatens to dampen that progress, experts said. Women have borne the brunt of the job losses over the last year and a half, while also shouldering most of the childcare responsibilities. An acute challenge for single mothers, especially those with young children. At the time, the housing market has grown highly competitive. Prices of single-family homes rose nearly 20% in August, the latest data available from a year earlier, according to S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller's National Home Price Index. Ah, yes, the pandemic could be the only reason that single moms aren't buying homes. I mean, obviously, all of these regulations damage the market in various ways, and the event caused a fair number of people to suffer, but it's pretty clear that Tara here is trying to avoid the ugly truth behind the curtain. When the wave of job losses swept through countries like the Western US, there were a large number of people who unfairly lost employment, but there was another layer the media refused to highlight. The fact that corporations were bloated with female hires that had low qualifications for what they were supposed to do. In an effort to get government support, these large businesses hired single moms, not because it served a productive purpose, but because you get major tax breaks and infusions when your employees are comprised of a bunch of hot air balloon feminists with 3 kids at home. Then, when the market was severely challenged, the well ran dry, and businesses realized they had to make cuts, starting with the demographics that were the most expensive, and without much investigation, it wasn't hard to locate the liability.
I have a question for the girls. If you wouldn't walk up to a stranger and hand them a $100 bill, why are you expecting a man to spend at least $100 on a first date with you? Genuine question.
It's a good question.
Let's
do the math.
Now, you said the first one was...
Because men got me confused.
Nails.
Yep.
Nails, that's $250.
Yep, $250 to $275.
I'll take the low end, 250. And the hair is what, 4?
Hair, we taking the low end?
Yeah, say the low end.
Let's say 700 for the wig.
Okay.
500 for the wig. It depends.
Let's do 5.
500 for the wig.
Okay.
$300 for the install.
What? That's different?
Yes. That does not come with the wig.
Okay.
These hairstylists want their money for the install. What else is a part of self-care day? Oh, beauty supplies. That's a store run by itself that cost about at least $300 for beauty supplies. When you go to the beauty supply store, every woman spends in between $200 to $300 at the beauty store. Everything's high.
Taking the low end, going to 200. Okay. Whew, it's getting up there. What else?
Restock.
Restock what?
Restock. Women go and do restocks on their self-care days. Restock whatever you need. Deodorant, perfumes.
So that's what, like $50?
No. Deodorants, perfumes, feminine care, all that stuff. That's gonna run you about $200.
Everywhere you look, the hoflation crisis is getting out of hand. That said, there is no greater contributor to this phenomenon than the modern single mom. They talk a big game and try to paint a picture like they are just like a man, buckling down and eating cups of noodles in a small apartment. However, one look under the proverbial hood shows that nearly all of them spend everyone else's money on random self-care items and run up massive credit card debt, and while doing nothing in the workforce to improve output. Anyway, moving on. Home ownership is an extremely important part of people's savings and wealth accumulation, especially for middle-income or median households, said Kelly Shue, a professor of finance at the Yale School of Management.
Wow, I never knew that.
Ms. Shue analyzed government survey data from 1989 through 2016 and found that, among households with median savings, homes accounted for 70% of single women's wealth near retirement, compared with 50% for single men and roughly 60% for married couples.
So why did he earn that money?
It's important for all groups, but especially for single women, she said. The pandemic, combined with the challenging market landscape, has eroded women's confidence about their likelihood of becoming homeowners. Nearly 60% of single female heads of households who rent, those who never married, those who are separated or divorced and widows, said they could not afford to buy and didn't know if they ever would, according to a September study by Freddie Mac, the government-backed mortgage giant.
Welcome to the real world.
It is really hard, said Miss Hewitt, 33, who said her events business was still struggling to regain its pre-pandemic momentum. She's focusing on stabilizing her income so she can rebuild her down payment fund. That's a challenging prospect given the costs of rent, childcare for her son, Adam, and student loan debt that now tops $109,000, although her payments are on hold. How do you make your way out of this, she said. I'm an optimist, but I don't know. Okay, a couple of big things to point out here. For starters, Tara is once again doing what all of these women do when writing these articles, sharing the stats and ignoring the causes. Like, she seriously points out that homes accounted for 70% of single women's wealth near retirement, compared with 50% for single men, but then tries to just skate right by it. Lady, you just diagnosed the problem and chose to get distracted by nonsense. The assets that these single moms possess come from a single source: men. Men who work real jobs, men who sacrificed a great deal to get the dogs, children, and white picket fences, men who got swindled by the court system and forced to give away real estate for a woman with a broken compass. But you continue, Tara, to try and see these chicks as heroes who take care of business. Well, here's the hero of your story.
Take care of your son, ho!
Bitch.
So I do have one child, he's 2, but he has a great father. I'm not looking for a stepdad, but I also have a low fertility, so I would only be able to produce like maybe 1. So it's not like I'm not gonna have a bunch of kids.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Okay, all right.
And this is what the article refuses to recognize. Tara remains clueless, writing, "The slight increase is above pre-pandemic rates, but may partly be a result of the decline in the number of Americans getting married," said Jessica Lautz, Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insights at the Realtors Group. "Women have a lot of headwinds right now," she said. We know they are buying on a lower income even as prices have increased and inventory has decreased.
So does everyone else!
Single women buying their first home, for example, had a median household income of $58,300 in 2020, compared with $69,300 for their male counterparts, the association found. Single women tend to be older when they buy and spend less on their homes. The median age of first-time single female buyers was 34, compared with 31 for men, and women spent about 14% less.
Because she's getting a divorce.
Taylor Hurls, a 27-year-old single mother who lives with her 2 young sons in the Bronx, was already working full-time as an associate producer for a production company when she picked up a side job, social media director for a music website, to start putting aside money for a down payment. She was looking into programs for first-time homebuyers when her plans were upended. She lost her full-time job last November, and the social media gig ended in January. She filed for unemployment, which didn't cover her household expenses, and started applying for jobs. She had more than 40 interviews. "We don't live in a society where they pay you what you're worth," said Ms. Hurls, who has more than $140,000 in student loans, largely from a master's degree in television, radio, and film.
Now I get it.
Her experience will be a familiar one to many single mothers. Just before the pandemic, in January 2020, 81% of single mothers were participating in the labor force, meaning they were working or looking for work, according to an analysis by Lauren Bauer, a fellow in economic studies at the Brookings Institution. But it dropped sharply as the virus took hold. The rate plunged to 75% in April 2020. This September, it was 77%, still below its pre-pandemic level. Okay, so let me get this straight. I'll remain objective here. The single mom failed to be a proper caregiver and chose a college art education that is basically a shot in the dark in the realm of success. She spent crazy sums of money to embark on a career journey that is a total roulette wheel without intense labor, and she's blaming the world and its market for struggling after letting him hit it raw. Moreover, Tara, the author of this disaster, is trying to argue that any of this has to do with the pandemic. Dude, that's an insane jump. That's like if I went to Mickey D's every day, pounded down 7 burgers and 3 large Cokes, and then tried to make the argument that the consequent morbid obesity was brought on because the electric company cut power to my treadmill. All of this is just madness.
Yikes.
I'm so damn confused.
And so am I. The mental gymnastics can be so distracting these days, so here's my clear argument to replace whatever nonsense is going on here. In the early 2000s, up to the pandemic, single moms were at the height of the grand heist. They were leaving men in droves, peaking at over 80% compared to men, and taking charity gigs that justified majors they were not creatively qualified to bring into the workplace. Then when the system failed on both fronts, hustling men and taking advantage of government programs, they were left on their asses with no real support system because their social and economic value dropped so hard it hit the Earth's molten core. In short, they were foolish and greedy. Now, no man wants to put up with the game.
Mr. Walker, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Thank you, Your Honor. For the past year, I have been paying child support to my ex-wife, Jennifer. Currently, our daughter is in my mother's custody, and I'm bringing this case...
Wait. Why is your daughter in your mother's custody?
So she was initially in my custody, but before this year, I was a teacher, and I got promoted to principal. But I'm now working at a school that's on the other side of town. I wanted to make sure that my daughter stayed in the school that she's in because she has been there for the past 4 years. And I wanted to make sure that, well, she's been in that district for the past 4 years, and I wanted to keep her development because I agree with the education plan that they have there. So I took the job because it was more money and it was a better career for me. And
more money, so should you be paying more in child support then?
Well,
making more money?
Well, I think that I should be paying my mother the child support. Currently, I'm paying my ex-wife the child support, and I have no idea where those funds are going.
How much do you pay in child support?
$500 a month.
Okay. Continue.
And so she's in my mother's custody right now. My mother is retired. We had the conversation. We had an amicable conversation about my daughter living with my mother because she is retired. She worked for the city of Dallas for 28 years.
She worked?
Why do so many people think that women behave badly because men today are weak?
Well, then, so if you believe that your actions are based on what somebody else does, because I hear a lot of women say, you got to have somebody to handle me. Let me tell you something. I don't want to have to handle anybody. Why should I have to handle you? That means you are a person that lacks discipline. You do not know how to act yourself. So the thing is that if you are assessing your behavior based on what somebody is or not, then that's more of a problem on you than whoever you're trying to place the blame on.
And my brother here is exactly right. Again, for decades, the single mom hustle escalated. Women were taking homes directly or using alimony to purchase them, arguing to the press that this was a new era where women learned to take care of themselves. The problem? Nobody was brave enough to follow the money trail, even though we all knew where it came from. Men, if this isn't a fantastic example of MGTOW working on a grand scale, I don't know what is. With more and more guys backing out of marriage and single mom sympathy, it's abundantly clear that female empowerment was a complete illusion. From the bottom of my heart, cheers to all of you.
As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.